welcome to the RTO Show. I'm your host, Pete Shau. Today, we're talking about some crazy stuff. Now, you might remember the 6-part series that we did on AI. Completely different setup now. I've got Atlog here with Sean Karagotou. And now, Sean, tell me, what's your actual title?
I'm the COO, Chief Operating Officer.
So we got the COO here of Atlog. And now, let me tell you what's happening. I came across them at FRDA, but we didn't get a chance to meet up.
Right.
So MRDA, here we are in beautiful land of the Ozarks. MRDA is a great place. If you guys don't know about it yet, the Missouri Rental Dealer Association. Thank you, Cleek, and all the people who are associated with the Missouri Rental Dealer Association. We appreciate you, but I did get a chance to come out here. I will be speaking very soon, but besides that, I got a chance to catch up with Atlog and find out all about them. And the truth is, we want to dig a little deep and see what's going on, what's under the hood. So, Sean, talk to me a little bit about yourself. Listen, there's nothing more that I can tell you that we need new. Right, we need new in the rent-to-own space, but tell me a little bit about yourself. How did you get here? How did this happen?
Yeah, so just to give a little background on the company. So our company's called Atlog. We have 3 co-founders, myself, Viraj, and John, and we had a close contact to the company that was in the RTO space. So we had the chance to learn from him and really go into his stores, see what problems that we could identify. And we thought, what better than to bring AI to an industry that has, really been looked over in the past.
Now, so let's talk about that.
Yeah.
You guys from a fresh new idea, okay? The idea of AI is not new, right? The idea of AI has been around for a few years. It grows and grows and grows as things happen. Listen, it's on our phones. It's on our everyday. GPT is getting closer to replacing Google search every single day. So as this happened, okay, there is no Atlog. You're there, and then you see these ideas. What made you think, okay, this is where I need to be? This is the place where I need to incorporate myself. And first, how did Atlog get the name?
Yeah, so we're history majors in school, so we really like the idea of atlases, these books with big maps in them, and then log kind of came through. We did a search on ChatGPT. We were like, what are cool suffixes that we can add on? And then we were like, Atlog, and it could be call logs. It could be a log is any piece of information.
Okay.
So we were thinking atlas, these beautiful history books, and books of maps, and then log, just any sort of piece of information. So it's Atlog. We combine those together.
Okay. All right. So you guys see this, right? And you see that there is a space that we need to come up with. What made you say this is going to be the industry that I'm going to do it?
Right. I think the biggest thing for us is we really enjoy the community aspect. My dad's a small business owner, so we were really trying to look at a wide array of industries to identify a problem and fix. But I think when we were working with this operator, we got to see what are the big issues that RTO is facing, and we're starting with these calls because we think it's something that the AI technology that wasn't good 5 years ago, but is really, really good now, and we can really implement. And then on top of that, getting to meet the community, being at MRDA, FRDA, it's been a really, I think, interesting experience to really see how tight knit everyone is, and kind of get involved in that space as well.
So, let's be honest, guys. He started golfing. He's been on the fishing trip. He's been included. The cliques have included him. But so you get through this, right? Missouri Rental Dealer Association says, "Hey, come on, you guys are here and you're showing out." But let's back up a little bit and go, Sean, where did you get the AI experience from? What puts you in that realm to say, this is something that I can do, this is something that Viraj can do? Let's tackle this because I know what. Where did you get the experience from? Where did you get the knowledge from?
Yeah, so we're kind of fresh out of Vanderbilt. So we recently graduated. We're all kind of computer science people. John was one of the best CS majors at Vanderbilt, perfect GPA, things like that. So we're really ingrained in the space, and we're in a program right now called Y Combinator, which is an investment program in San Francisco. So we learn from the best AI people in the world, essentially.
Wow.
We heard from Sam Altman, who created ChatGPT. He was the president of the program that we did a couple years ago. We heard from the CEO of Airbnb. He did the same program as us. And big companies that you've heard of have done what we're doing right now. So imagine DoorDash, Instacart, Dropbox, just household names, and our hope is that we'll become a household name in the RTO space as well.
Well, you're definitely coming into a space that needs it. Okay, and I'm going to say this. I've said this for a while on this channel. I do believe in the rent-own industry.
Right.
I also believe that we're a little bit behind. I feel like that we can get dialed up a little bit, especially at the pace that AI is going and seeing it transition for the last few years. Now I'm looking at it and going, where are we at that? And how do we do that? Now, in the last 6-part series that we had, we talked about using already existing AI to integrate into how we do it. But we didn't have an integrated AI already into what we're doing. So is the idea of Atlog to say, we want to create software that has AI intently in it to do an everyday rent-to-own task? Let me ask you something. Are you getting everything out of your rent-to-own business? If you're not an A-Pro member, then the answer is probably no. Look, advocacy is A-Pro's bread and butter. This is why they were created and what they do best. But here's the thing. A-Pro membership is about way more than advocacy. A-Pro connects you to the movers and the shakers of the industry. People who've been there, done that, and they can help you do it even better. A-Pro's monthly webinars give you expert insights and actionable takeaways. It's like having a masterclass for your business every single month. Got questions about complex regulations or sticky situations? No problem. A-Pro's legal hotline gives you direct access to experts who have got the answers. That's a peace of mind that you can't put a price on. And let's not forget the resources, news, updates, and tools that keep you ahead of the curve. Scholarships for your team? Check. Disaster relief when you need it most? Double check. A-Pro is your ultimate support system in the rent-to-own world. So stop settling for less. With A-Pro, members get more. More support, more connections, more success. Head over to RTOHQ.org and join the A-Pro family today. Because in this business, more isn't just better. It's essential. See you at the top with A-Pro.
Exactly. So imagine there's like 2 types of AI, right? So there's AI systems that you can use, like you can go into ChatGPT and make it talk about RTO, right? Or what we're doing is called AI native, or it's called vertical software. So we're focusing in on a specific industry, finding the specific problems that they have, and then thinking about like not just how to AI the whole thing, but to AI specific aspects of it that the AI is really good at doing, and then training it, right? Because AI is just like a person. When a person does something, they get better and better at it, and the AI is the same way. So imagine like if we can verticalize that, like find specific niche problems, and that we're building towards that. So imagine like the industry is pretty specific in itself, and then just like working with different operators, we've had the chance to see like what are these like crazy scenarios that they can get into, and build towards that.
Okay, so help me out. You mentioned some names. You mentioned John. We've mentioned Viraj. Who's Viraj?
Yeah, so Viraj is the CEO of Atlog. He's the one with the kind of family connect to the RTO space. And he's our CEO. So he has a CS background and a history background. So really like kind of like has the sales side and the marketing side, and then also the tech side as well.
Okay, who's John?
John is our CTO, so he's super technical.
Okay.
He was like a CS and math kid in school, and like kind of the smartest guy, like can tell you anything about a computer, can code in any language and things like that.
So when you say CS, what is CS?
CS is computer science.
Computer scientist.
Yeah.
Okay, so John, Sean, and Viraj are
Yes.
together. We're trying to put this situation where we create this software to work with seamlessly in rent-to-own,
Right.
to create what? What is the goal of Atlog? When we say the creation of AI and then utilizing it inside the workspace, well, what can I expect?
Yeah, we want to start. So we're thinking about the highest ROI problems, right? And one of the big things we've seen is the number of calls that people in the store have to make. So our first kind of thought was that our wedge could be like our entry into the space are these voice agents that allow kind of stores to alleviate some of the burden off their employees, who aren't maybe making the most calls per day, or have hundreds of calls to get through, and they just like literally can't do it. Like someone comes into the store, I can't make the 5 calls I was supposed to make while they were in, or like I have to go to my lunch break, I have to pick up my kid from school. So any one of these scenarios can happen, and sometimes you fall behind on those calls, and it's really important to call a customer right on time, because there's much more likely to pay when they're 1 day late than when they're 14 days late. So even small things like that is what we saw as we were trying to.
Sean, you sound like you've been talking to somebody in the rent-to-own space.
Yeah, we have.
Okay,
Yeah.
so from not having a background to being in the store and then realizing that there is some things that we can get working on, right? And you say that we're going to start this. Man, I don't want a robocaller. I feel like that's out there. There's that robocaller where it's it's the same line over and over again, and it dials multiple numbers, and it just tries to get a transaction out of you.
Yeah.
What's different between the Atlog.AI and a robocaller that I've had for 10 years?
Yeah, I think the two big things, right? The first is we come into your store, so we really try to identify what exactly you need, right? So we can set up specific parameters. We can have it negotiate. Like imagine anything a human can do, the AI can do pretty well. And then also it sounds, we've showed people demos in person and over the phone, and they're always shocked by how good the voice is, because it sounds like just like someone When we were in the first store we did it in, we like had it on speakerphone, and there was a person walking distance, and they're like, "Is that Reggie from like XYZ's store?" And I think it's very nice for us to hear, because we're listening to these voices all day trying to test them out. So when people think they really do sound like real voices. So an auto dialer, you're just going to get the same robotic monotone voice, where with us, like you'll get someone with emotions and expressions, and like we'll always have that same level of energy, whether that's at 9 a.m. or 8 p.m. in the evening.
So you guys got to understand this. Now, I was going to the booth that they have at the Missouri Rental Dealer Association. We're talking about the 2025 booth, and I go by, and I'm talking to the guys, and we can do an example of a call right at the booth, right? So if somebody comes up to you guys, you can show them, hey, this is what it sounds like. Now, I'm not going to lie. It sounded like one of the guys at the booth. I said that earlier. I thought it was one of the guys on the booth. But obviously, he wasn't on the phone, and I was able to see that. So you guys have this ability to kind of show what it can do with somebody who comes up to you. So if I was looking at just a run of the business, kind of what does it sound like? You can do that right then and there.
Right, yeah.
But now you're saying there's different voices?
Yeah, so the voice that we showed you was one example of like a voice that we really like. So that's the one that we show. But we've been testing out like hundreds of different voices. So you can have any accent from anywhere in the world. We're currently testing out different languages. We have Spanish currently, and we've had requests from certain store owners for different languages also. So that's something that we're kind of bringing out. But we recently had like a French accent that we've been testing.
Oh, wow.
So it really gets really like, and I was listening to the French accent. I'm like, this sounds like my French teacher from high school. So it's like we've had some pretty interesting interactions with the AI. But it can be a man or a woman. It can be they could be from the north. They could be have a southern accent. Really anything. Yeah.
So, I mean, are we looking at a server farm somewhere that's going to be set up, and we've got to have it ultra cool for the AI industry? Is that something that you're working towards?
So I think right now, like we do the AI application. So like the companies that are doing the chips and the actual large language models, what it's called. It's often referred to as LLM. So like ChatGPT, for example, is run by OpenAI's LLM. And there's Anthropic, which is Claude. So that's its own LLM. And then Facebook has one like Meta called Llama. So all of our systems, we're kind of agnostic to the data center and the LLM. So we just pick the best one that's going to sound the best for you and to your specific application when choosing what voice to pick and what that voice is trained on and says.
So is it possible to have somebody on the background using a ChatGPT versus a Claude?
So yeah, like the voice itself is powered by that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So help me out. Mm-hmm. We got to there by kind of listening in and going, okay, I'm in this rent-to-own space. I see that there's something going on. Right. I think I want to fix it. Mm-hmm. But how do you stay in touch with that? So, you've done it. We're going to go down this road of making calls, and you think that it's a good segue in. Let's get the collections calls. Let's find a personable voice that's going to call you. Right. We're going to set this up with your accounts. But how do you stay in touch with the rent-to-own? How do you know that we're still traveling down the right road? How do you get that feedback? And how do you know I want to make another iteration to the Atlog.AI? Okay, for right now we're doing collection calls, but maybe we want to go into sales calls. Maybe we want to do callbacks. Maybe we want to find out how the delivery was or whatever the case is.
Yeah.
How do you stay in touch with the business?
Yeah, I think our biggest thing is talking to store owners. Like wherever we are, we had really great interest at FRDA. We talked to a lot of the stores down in Florida, and being in Missouri this week, like we've had the chance to like see kind of what people's interest is, how their specific stores. Because if you have 2 stores versus you have 70 stores, you have completely different problems that you're facing. I guess some of them are the same, some of them are different. So our biggest thing is like keeping in contact with our kind of like familial connection, always relying on him to like give us some advice and feedback and things like that as like our first line of defense. And then going to our first customers and saying, hey, like we saw that you guys wanted this first, like, can we incorporate more into your store? Like, what is your feedback for us? So that's kind of the process that we're taking. I think when you build something specifically for someone, that's like what our program teaches us. It's called make something people want, right? Like we don't want to sell like we don't want to sell you something that you don't want, right? Like you don't want to sell someone a couch that's too big for their living room, right? So like we're kind of trying to get the perfect couch for you, get the perfect AI that will work for you. And I think with that philosophy in mind, it's a lot of like taking people's feedback in and incorporating that into the product.
Well, I'm gonna always say, listen, I'm not saying that the owners are not right or the owners are not. That's one aspect of the business, but I would definitely incorporate, some of the RMs or some of the DMs because they're gonna see it from a different light, and then you're gonna have the general usage of it through the store managers and the salespeople and the collection people, and getting their feedback on it might also be something. But going from that. Is there anybody else involved in this? This is all Atlog solo, or is there some kind of collaboration that you're kind of feeding back into to kind of help you get through this?
Yeah, so right now it's all Atlog solo, and we are actually currently raising money right now. So one of the parts of the program is we are a venture-run fund, venture-run company. So we go out and we talk to investors to help raise money to essentially build more for the RTO industry. So we're really excited to, show people in San Francisco these like investors that might not know what rent to own is. Like it's always funny when we have these conversations because these are people who went to the best schools. Like all they do all day is deploy capital as venture capitalists. So they're not really like, in the same kind of space. So we've not only had to teach, we have to teach them what the AI does, what the voice agent does, and then also teach them about the rent to own space and about, we are both like furniture and tires. So I think that process has been really interesting for us, being this bridge between both the technology side, like bringing technology to the rent-to-own industry, but then also bringing the rent-to-own industry to the technologists and to the investors to show them that, there is room for growth in this space and that we're the right company to bring it forward.
So if I was sitting on a bunch of money, I can invest in Atlog right now?
Yes. Yeah, we're taking investors. So if you're
how does that work? How does that work? If I want to invest, and let's say, I'm just saying, if I had some money, I wanted to invest, is it a share that they're buying? How does that work?
Yeah, so it's like a percentage of the company. It's like the SAFE model. So right now this week we were raising $2 million at about a $20 million valuation. That's our goal. We're going to see how well it goes, but currently that's why Raj and John aren't here with me right now. They're in SF presenting to investors. So that's kind of, that capital will help us continue to build into the space and give us that leeway to really come into the stores and work with the different owners as well.
So that's super important. Mm-hmm. So I'm glad that they're taking care of that. And we'll come back to investing later.
Yeah.
Now, you have a couple of different ways to look at this, right? Mm-hmm. We have some businesses that are bigger than others.
Yeah.
Is this like a business to business model for large companies? Can you scale this down for the guy or the gal or the couple that have just one store? Can it be affordable for them, or is there a break even mark where it's like it's better that if you have 20 stores so that way the cost is more effective? Can I have just one store on it? Can I have 50 stores on it? How would you break that down and say this is the way it should be?
Yeah, so we price by store. So our hope is that everyone in the rent-to-own industry is going to be eventually on Atlog. So whether you're a one-store owner that wants to just test it out in a store or make your store more efficient, that's something that we're really excited to do because a one-store owner has a lot of information that a big chain might not because you're probably there on the ground, your employees really well. There's an added extra level of kind of knowledge surrounding that. And then if you're a 50 or a 70 or 100 store owner, you have district managers, you have leaders, you have all these employees. So there's a lot of knowledge there as well. So kind of our plans are very similar across the board. They're per store. And then based on the size of the company, we like work with them to see, how, are we going to do a pilot test in a small number of stores and expand into the rest of them? Or do we do kind of like a volume-based program as well? So we figure the kind of the pricing and the details out with each store, but our goal is to work with every single rent-to-own store.
So one thing that I'm very curious about is that rent-to-own is very personal.
Yeah.
It's one of those relationship-driven businesses. That's what we do. A lot of the owners that you're going to talk to are going to say, "How do you get more sales? How do you do this?" Well, first off, you got to create the relationships with people, right? So moving forward, it seems like relationships are starting to disappear. Right? Everything is fast. Everything is on the phone. I don't talk to somebody who's selling me something at Amazon. I just buy it. It shows up. I don't talk to the driver. I don't talk to anybody. It just shows up. There is no personal relationship, so I don't feel bad about sending it back. I don't ask, okay, is there somebody that can help me with this washing machine? They're like, yeah, you know what? I don't like it. It goes back. They give me my money back and I'm good. Where rent-to-own is, we want to build that relationship. We want to make sure that they understand and they're happy with the product that they have. So how do you feel about the automation versus going into a business that is heavily relied on these relationships?
Yeah, and I think that's what we're trying to build on the best with that feedback aspect I was talking about before. We had a recent example of like delivery drivers, right? Like an owner doesn't know how, well a delivery driver is doing in the home of the person that they're going to, and that's a really high risk job, right?
It's probably one of the most important parts of the job. I mean, I don't care who you are. If they go into the store and they build that relationship with a manager or a salesperson, that's great. But the guy who's most important is going to be delivering it into your house so that he's not knocking over your favorite picture or scraping your wall or pulling the little string on the rug and it just kind of all the way comes out, like the cartoons. But, it's a group thing. I don't want to say anything's one more important, but the lasting impression is usually the last person who's been in where you stay, right? So did I put it where you want it? Did I set it up for you? Did I show you how to use it? Did you understand how the service and function of the features work? Do you know about our loaner program? And that can really make or break it. So how does Atlog affect that?
Yeah, so one of the things that we've been thinking about recently, we had someone request was having an agent call the customer once the product is delivered.
Now, when you say agent, we're talking about AI.
Yes, the AI agent. So we would have like a call go out to the customer as soon as they have their stuff delivered. So right then and there, you get their real raw emotion, and we can see who was delivering it, how well they did the person like it, what did they, were there any issues that we may be able to fix, and what were the good things that they did, so we can provide that constructive criticism. Okay. And you can say you do 100 deliveries in the week, we can summarize all of that and give you the high points of it, right? Okay, these 85 deliveries did really great. Oh, I hit the wall in one delivery, and the other 10, they didn't provide any meaningful feedback. So it's kind of based on
providing training opportunities.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so I'm going to be honest with you. I love the sound of it.
Yeah.
But you're not the first person to come to the show or the rent-to-own industry and say, hey, I have this great idea. So not that long ago, I would say, let's just go back a year.
Yeah.
Okay. We're talking through what they call the R2O. And it was like a rent-to-own collections piece where there was this idea that collections could be automated and they were going to do certain things not far off of what you were talking about. And there was an idea, this is going to get implemented. This is going to be the new wave. And there was a fizzle. I mean, there was one firework, and then after that, everybody was left okay, what's next? And it was there's crickets in the room. What differentiates Atlog from people who have tried to come into the space and do calls and kind of get to a point where it's going to call you at the right time, hopefully it's going to say the right things, and it's going to change everything, and then it not? How does that work?
Yeah, I think our big difference is we have been kind of built on the philosophy. I know Raj really says this a lot, of showing up. That's why we're here. We really do want to build those relationships out. And we both have personal family connections to get the rent-to-own space. When my parents first moved to America, they went to a rent-to-own furniture store to get those first couple pieces of furniture that they had. So it's meaningful to me to help contribute to an industry that contributed to me when I was young. So I think that's a big aspect of it. And then I think just like everyone is so genuinely sweet and nice. Like I think like obviously we have to prove out the product, and that's the onus there is on us.
It is. Yeah, it is, man. I'd say it totally is.
But I think we are some of the smartest people. Like we are going to bring some of the smartest engineers on board, and I think the fact that we're also have that venture backing is really important. Like a lot of these companies might not have the resources or the capital to really put in the time and effort into creating the software specifically for rent to own. So both showing up, showing out, and then having the resources necessary to really create a product for this industry.
So let's say we're talking about this, right? Let's say I have Bob's rent to own.
Yeah.
We'll say Pete's rent to own. Okay. Pete's got the best rent to own. Pete's rent to own, and you come in and we're talking about making calls, and we're talking about, let's say, possibility to have the callbacks
Sure.
and possibly something more that comes down the road. How do I know how well I'm doing? Do I have to wait to the end of the month to collect that data and put it together? Or do I see it real time? Is it on a dashboard? How does that work?
Yeah, two things with us is everything is unlimited and everything is live. So if you say we did a round of calls on Monday, you could see it the same day. As the calls are going, you can see the transcripts. You can see, how the AI performed. We also do like compliance calls. So say you can have it like read over transcripts from real people. So there's a wide plethora of things, but the easiest thing that is you have a dashboard. So that is active between Atlog and the RTO store at any time. So you can hop in and see how much money was collected today, how many calls were made, how well is the AI doing, what is the success rate, what is the average like time on the call, and you can see like, is the average person happy with the AI voice, or are they not, right? Like we can do sentiment analysis, just basically see like, are the calls going well, or are they not as well?
So, okay, so we got real time live. We're trying to make calls. We're going to start there. We're going to get the information coming. But now let's get a little deeper.
Yeah.
Because to integrate, so are we talking about integrating with the operating softwares that are currently out there, or are we talking about Atlog is going to be able to give you an operating software that you can collect money on, and it calls and does these things for you?
Yeah. So I think what we've been trying to do is every owner is a little different, right? Every owner has a different preference of, how they want to collect the payment, whether that's through their POS, whether that's not. We also Stripe is a big payment collections company that's also it has the same investor as us. So we have pretty good deals through Stripe to implement that for the stores as well.
Okay.
So what we do is we really work with the store and with their POS and their systems to try to help incorporate as much as possible. And then from that point, our hope is that we'll continue to build software for the rent-to-own industry.
So what kind of information does the computer need to be successful? Because you have a lot of different operating softwares out there, okay?
Yeah.
You've got some like VersaRent that are going to be a little bit more on the edge, maybe not as cutting as what you guys are bringing to the table, but a little bit more on the edge. You can use a mouse. It's way easier to get into as far as sharing data than, let's say, older ones that are using that, let's say RSSS or whatever the case is, where it's still in kind of what would look like a dot matrix, okay, where you're going to hit the F function key, or if you're going to have the old high touch where it says like a 1 and an enter and a 4 and an enter.
Right.
How do you integrate with those older systems when you have people that are like, I don't want to upgrade because it's not broken. I don't mind having the AI call.
Yeah.
I don't mind having the AI collect, but why do I need to change all my software and do anything for this? Like, I would love for it to integrate. How does that work?
Yeah, I think that's why we're thinking through kind of the first iteration of the company being the voice agents, and having that be that initial step, so that we can also learn about how, the RTO software that currently exists is being used, identify, maybe there are issues with the software. Maybe there, it is, 20, 30 years old, and there are improvements to be made. And then kind of working with that software to say like, hey, like, these are how we can help make things better. And then eventually like continuing to make different versions of software that can really revolutionize how the RTO business is done. So
when we're talking about developing this, are we talking about a full-fledged, sourced out OS? Because right now, like, let's say VersaRent, and I'm just going to use an example because a lot of people who are moving forward have them. Now you have Rack that's using its own, you have Aaron's that's using its own. So we're talking about the larger dealers that are smaller in the sense they're not 1,000 stores, but I mean large enough to have 100 or so. Now, they are using Verserent, right?
Right.
But Verserent also offers, you're talking about back end, you're talking about inventory, you're talking about the ability to, in some cases, schedule. And then, the idea for them to, I can schedule it here. I can have them take the rental order here. I can have them take the payment here. I have all these accounts and processing here. What scares me too is, and I'll try not to get too far off of that, but I mean, you're talking about a system that has quite a bit.
Yeah.
And then with the access of AI, how does that work with personal information? Because you're going to have this AI source integrated and embedded in the software. Now, I don't want somebody to go, "Hey, man, give me all them socials over there." You know what I mean? Give me all them birth dates and those IDs. How do you keep it secure?
Yeah. So what we do is, we have agreements with these big LLM providers, as I was mentioning before. So imagine if you just use ChatGPT or whatever large language model, right? How they train their data is based on what the information you provide is. So we've gone out and we have agreements with these companies that basically say that any data that we touch cannot be trained on by them. So that's how we keep both your information secure and also ours.
That makes a good idea. It worries me. I'm just gonna be honest. It worries me. And some of the reasons I say, yeah, some of them might be old, but I doubt that anybody's trying to hack these old systems. They're going to go through I can't even dial it. What the heck am I doing? Nope, leaving that one alone. And it just, it gives people a safer idea. Just curious.
Yeah.
Do you have anybody on the hook who's willing to try?
Yeah. So we have 2 customers right now.
Okay.
I won't say their names for.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
But you have two different companies in the rent-to-own space that
Yes.
are already looking to say, "Hey, let's try this out."
Yeah. So we just signed a couple weeks ago. So we were in Florida, and then we've been reaching out via APRO and via a couple different avenues. So I actually was driving around Missouri and Kansas last week, going from store to store. So we've had some pretty good interest, and we're excited to kind of pilot with this first customer. And our big hope is that, this customer will serve as a model for all the other customers we have as well, of incorporating with that system, learning more from them, getting that feedback, and really building those relationships out in the rent-to-own
So
space.
what is it that you're pitching now? Because we're talking about, we just finished talking about what could be available in the future and what you want to go to.
Yeah.
If somebody comes to Atlog right now, what's available right now?
Yeah, so our core offering right now is voice agent. So anything that you would call for in an RTO store, we can do. So imagine you're a store owner, someone calls at 6:05, 5 minutes after the store closes. They have no way to get a question answered. They have no way to figure out how to do a payment online. Just basic inbound calling. That's step 1, right? The second step from there is outbound calls, whether that's, collections calls, charge-offs, things like that, or just basic late payment calls, getting people who are 1 to 7 days, 7 to 14 days, 14 to 28 days, and just giving them those reminders, because these are really good customers. They've just forgotten to pay, right? So getting those guys on board with the outbound calls. And then eventually we're also trying to do sales and marketing calls, learn more about the customer, build customer profiles. So eventually we can say Johnny bought a TV last week, right? And he paid cash in full in 2.5 months. Let's try to sell Johnny another, maybe it's a living room set, maybe it's a TV stand to go along with his TV, things like that.
So you got a lot going on right now.
Yeah, we do.
We got a lot going on. Okay. All right. So the roadmap. You're doing collections right now. We can possibly start going into sales. Mm-hmm. What does the next 2 years for Atlog look at? You're starting with collections calls. You can possibly go into sales calls. We can then start going into the callbacks for the deliveries. Where are you after that?
Yeah, I think once we've mastered the voice across the stores and the calls, what we'll be able to do is understand these fundamental problems, right? And whether that's for some stores, it might be the POS. For other stores, it might be inventory management. It might just be we had one operator say that the front of he wishes the front of the store was smaller and the inventory in the back, the area in the back was bigger. So even stuff like that, thinking about what sort of solutions can software to provide to alleviate these big kind of headaches that RTO owners are having.
Is there an idea to integrate websites with the AI in order to do real-time inventory checks, and see, availability. Hey, I entered in this zip code. Well, you're like 20,000 miles away and I can't really do it. Or, you're in our delivery area. We have the possibility of scheduling you between 4 and 6. How far away is that? Hey everyone, it's Pete Shau here from the RTO Show podcast, and I want to tell you about a company that's making a real difference in the rent-to-own space. Wow Brands. I've seen firsthand how they approach marketing, and let me tell you, it's not just about ads. Wow Brands builds complete digital ecosystems designed specifically for the rent-to-own industry. Their e-commerce and lead generation strategies are built to bring in qualified leads. And did I mention that they are actively working with the rent-to-own industry while also being members of APRO and TRIB? Listen, these folks are passionate problem solvers. They don't just slap something together. They design, build, and scale the kind of digital retail tools your business needs and your customers actually want. So if you're serious about growing, reach out to Wow Brands at wowbrands.com. I trust them, and I think you will too.
Yeah, we've been talking to some partners who are in the website space in the RTO industry already and have made really great connections.
Is that Wow Brands?
Yeah, Wow Brands.
We've been talking about. Listen, I love Wow Brands. Ryan Kress is a friend of the show. I love what they do. They are really good at what they do. Yeah. The integration that they have, the possible integrations that they can do, and the forward thinking. He's definitely on the edge of that, and I love his thinking on that. Yeah. So I'm glad that you have the opportunity to work with him, because he's somebody he's somebody right now. Okay, that Wow Brands is definitely moving forward, and I like that. If there's going to be vendors working with each other, at least it's the vendors that are already here and we use.
Yeah, he's given us a lot of great advice, so we always love potentially integrating with the system and like getting to understand that website and how stores are using that already.
So I know that there's no going to be final date, right? You can't say, well, it's going to be fully done by this date, because you're going to be adding and upgrading and updating. But what date looks like in the future where you can say this is at least going to be a full version, or at least a full 1.0 version that it's going to be at that time before we do an upgrade or something like that? I mean, are we talking about a year or 2 years? What is it looking like? Yeah,
the voice agents we're fully live with. We can pilot it out in next couple weeks, and then I think our full vision for the company is really with that feedback, and kind of what we're expecting is in the next year and a half to 2 years that we'll really continue to understand these fundamental problems through feedback, and then be able to build from there.
So let's say I have a store. Okay, I'm again, we're in Pete's Rent to Own, the best rent to own that you're ever going to go into, and I want to use Atlog, right? I say, okay, Atlog, you guys have a great idea. I'm just a one-man band. I need some help. I think this is going to work for me. What has to happen? Like, do I need a certain bandwidth in order for Atlog to work correctly? Do I add a computer tower in the back room that has full access? Or like help me out. How does it work that you can start getting somebody on there without going super technical? But I mean, do I need a server in the back? How does that work?
No. So essentially what we do is we like to call it white glove onboarding. So we would come to Pete's Rent to Own.
The best rent to own ever.
We would sit with you, right? We would kind of take in all the problems that you're having. We would understand what software you're using, how you're using it, why you're using it, and take that perspective, and then also talk to the people working in the store, talk to what they need, and that's kind of how we've thought about this process, because for us, we're trying to learn as much as possible. So if we can learn from the best rent-to-own store in the industry,
that's what it is, baby.
That's super beneficial for us, right? So that's kind of how we're thinking about it. So say you want to incorporate it in a store today, we would fly out to you. We would kind of talk to you about, which one of those voice agents you want to use. Do you want inbound? Do you want outbound? Do you want sales? Do you want collections? Do you want late payments? What sorts of things is that specific store looking for? And then understand the demographics of the store. We can have them call in Spanish. We can say it's a store in an older area. The third of the month is a super important date for them, right?
Very important.
So we can understand what are the specifics behind that store and really tailor it to you.
So it sounds great. Okay, but let's say Pete's RTO, the best rent to own ever. Right. That's a one-man band. Okay, I have one store and I'm looking in this one town. Now, let's say you get a call from somebody who's got 20 stores. Okay,
yeah.
Are we white gloving every single location?
So what we
because the reason I say that is, let's say you got a guy in Georgia, you get a guy in Texas, you get a guy in Missouri, and they all have 20 stores, and they're like, hey, Sean, Prash, I'm ready to go, and you're like, woo, okay, how do I make this happen?
Yeah.
where are we going from here? Is there a scale up? Is there going to be more than you guys? Or is there going to be in field? Like, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I think I think when the demand is there, we'll start hiring. And I think one of us will always be on site. I think that's kind of the goal at the moment. But I think that's one of the big things that the investment is for. And also, as we grow the number of stores, I think we'll learn so much more, right? The product will be so much better that maybe we don't have to white glove every single store. We can white glove, the entire chain at once, right? Like if we could incorporate into one store, that first store is the hardest store, right? It's like the first time you do something is the hardest time that you do it. So I think the next 19 times from there should be much, much simpler.
Okay.
Yeah.
Talk to me a little bit about Atlog itself. So we're talking about what it can do, what we expect it to do, all the calls, the collections, possible sales, and all this stuff. What is Atlog itself? How are you guys? What's the company's culture? We have 3 guys with 3 high listed titles, but I don't think there's anybody else there, right? So these got to be long working days. Talk to me. What is it? What is a typical day like for Sean and Viraj? What do you guys do? Like, do you wake up, drink coffee, and go straight to I've got to and figure this out?
That's exactly what we've been doing. So we're the program that we're in. Really, that's the emphasis. So we wake up at 9 a.m. And like immediately get started. Like the coffee pot is brewing, it's ready to go. Like I'm on my computer as soon as my alarm clock goes off. So I think for us, like it's really putting in the work because we're not only learning, right? We're like want to build a very niche technology for this industry. So I think that's really like we want to bring our work ethic to it. So we work 9 a.m. to 12 a.m. We talk to our mentors, we talk to the store owners, and it's always funny because I was driving around Kansas and Missouri before MRDA, and that's like one of the ways that like I'm trying to show out because the other 2 couldn't be here right now. So I was trying to kind of be as present as possible. And it was really cool because I was going from store to store passing out our smart AI guide, and I had a couple of store owners come up and say like, hey, like I saw your guide, like thank you so much for coming and dropping that off. And I was able to do that in person. So that was really something that we like really take into our culture, is that show up, be present, and we spend a lot of hours on this.
So how do we get here? How did we, and not just the Atlog, because we've kind of described that, but like, where do you come from that you get up that early, stay working all day, every day, on the go? Like, who put you on that road? Yeah,
I think that work ethic for all of us comes from our parents. Like, I went to a really academically challenging high school. I'm originally from Phoenix, so I can speak the same for Raj and John. They went to very similar high schools to me. We all met at Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt was a super academically challenging curriculum in school, and I think we really excelled there because, I always like to say Vanderbilt's work hard, play hard, and that's kind of the energy that we bring as well. Like I went out fishing and woke up for golf at 6 a.m. today, and I'm still, working throughout the whole day. So I think for us, like it's a bit of a balance, right? Like we want to bring our full selves to the industry, and that is bringing our like Vanderbilt work hard, play hard as well.
Okay, the reason I ask is, listen, I'm not trying to take away from anything or anybody. Yeah. I have seen people in your shoes that they have the knowledge, no drive.
Yeah.
I want to get up, I want to work the 9 to 5, and I want to go to bed. Or I want to play, like you said. I want to be able to do that. That's what I went to school for. So the time that I am working, I'm good. And when the time I'm off, I'm good.
Right.
So, the reason I say that is guys, if you see the guys that I'm talking about from Atlog, there is not one white hair on his head. Unfortunately, but I see a different type of work ethic. When I talk to you guys, and I was talking to the guys earlier, the number one thing, I do see a lot of listening. That I love, because let me tell you, there's nothing worse than somebody telling you about your own business.
Right.
You know what I mean? The second thing that I see is that everybody's interested in an answer or at least how to get to an answer. If I don't know it, it's okay. Help me get there. That's not something that you see all the time. And guys, just so that you guys are aware, because that means a lot to me, it means a lot to the show. But number one, it means a lot to the rent-to-own industry because, listen, these relationships are important to us.
Right.
Our customers are family. If you don't believe that, you don't belong in this business, okay? We would be nothing and we would go nowhere without them. And so the idea of finding a way into this new time frame of the world where AI is going to be more prevalent, a way where, listen, self-serve is almost like on every situation.
Right.
I can go to Walmart and I can order it and they'll bring it out to me. I can go to Walmart online. I can go to Amazon. But we're even buying groceries now where I can just go on my phone, and a day later they're going to bring me everything that I can even use a credit card to get miles off of it. You know what I mean? It's just crazy how it works. So, the idea that self-serve is here.
Right.
It's here. And we've got to figure out how to make the industry work with us, for us, and with the way the customer appreciates it.
Right.
I'm going to shop at your location because, I have the opportunity to do it this way or that way. So as we move along and we're thinking about everything that we're thinking about, is this something that can make it, please tell me, is this something that can make it to an app?
If to like a mobile
like a
app?
phone app, yeah.
I think eventually, we want to give owners access, right? We were access at any point in time. So I think less than I wouldn't say an app per se, but I would say you would always have access to it on your dashboard at any time on a website. So you could pull it up on your phone.
More so on a customer level.
Oh, on a customer level, yeah. I think the idea is people are buying things online.
We're app driven. We're app driven. Look, dude, if I don't have that app, I'm not doing
right.
Nothing,
Exactly.
right?
People are buying things online left and right. So I think one of the biggest parts, an app is just a mobile version of a website, right?
Correct.
So I think that's less of what we do and more of what a website provider would do. But I think the idea of eventually being able to take purchases online and make purchases, or even request that purchase online, is something that we've really been thinking about because
Okay.
That's huge for our business, right? We want if you're making a sales and marketing call, we want them to be able to lock in to the PS5 or the TV right then and there, right?
Yes. I mean, speaking candidly, listen, I love the rent-to-own industry. I wouldn't be here if I didn't. I've been here for 20 plus years. I've worked for a number of companies. I've done a number of positions. I think that as much as I love this business, we are a little bit behind. I see the need to move up, and it's crazy that I see somebody who also sees that from a generation's standpoint away. But we can agree on that. I love the business. I love being able to see the people that I know, and time again. It's funny, short story. I had I worked at Buddy's Home Furnishings. I left and went somewhere else, and I came back. We're talking about 5-year gap.
Right.
Okay. Came back and I took over a region with Buddy's Home Furnishings. I go back to the store that I used to manage, and within 2 hours, 2 people came in that I used to deal with years. Now we're talking almost 10 years before. Came in, oh, hey Pete, how you doing? Now mind you, I haven't seen him in 10 years. They're called straight first names.
Right.
And he was like, where you been? And it was like, well, I did this and it's that. Oh, so you're back? That's great. It's awesome. And I was like, I can't believe you're still here.
Right.
You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So the relationships are so important to what we do. And I never want to understate that.
Right.
Or overstate the need for AI. But I think we need the both. Mm-hmm. And we've got to marry that together. And I think that there's an opportunity to do that, but we're going to be watching you. Right. I'm going to tell you, I think, and I have to rephrase it. I got to look back on it because my memory is terrible. It could be R2O2. But I remember that this collections thing, we did a thing on it, and it just seemed so great. Mm-hmm. And there, like you said, there was no stick power. You got to show up. You really, really do. Don't sell me something and not show up for your own product, buddy. I'm just going to be honest with you. Just be honest with you. I mean, I don't think Kia's really took off until they said, we got to figure out a way to make these guys stick. 10-year, 100,000 mile, it doesn't matter. And then you're like, you got my attention now. Yeah. And I'm not saying they're a good car, bad car, not. Yeah. But that definitely said, wait a minute. If we're willing to stand behind it that much, let me go check out this car at least. Mm-hmm. And then here we are. They're like the 3rd or 4th largest car manufacturer in the world right now.
Right.
Good, bad, or indifferent. That is the truth. So looking at that, and I was like, I love the idea. Mm-hmm. I love the passion for it. Let me tell you, if there's anything that I love in this business, it's the passion for to get something done and to do it right and to get there until you get it right. But seeing somebody else who was in the space and then kind of bailing out on it for whatever reason, and I'm not saying good, bad, or indifferent, they're not here anymore.
Right.
So, what's to differentiate the staying power of Atlog versus somebody who's tried it and then decided?
Yeah, I can give you some insight. And we talked about Atlog's culture before, and I think one of the big things that we really stick by is Brian Chesky. He's the CEO of Airbnb. He came and spoke to us, and he would say that the first couple of years of Airbnb, everybody thought he was nuts, right? Because he was pitching the idea that people stay in other people's houses that you don't know, and who would want to stay in a stranger's house, right?
Right.
So he would say that like he was the first guest of Airbnb. He would go book a house and go stay in the person's house. And then like he would do all of these different things where he would take photos of their house to make their house look like a hotel and really get nitty gritty on the ground. And I think that's the same level of perseverance and grit that we want to bring to our company as well. And I think, as I mentioned before, like that's why we're showing up in these places, and that's why like we're here to stay. We're not trying to leave, right? And I think I've been mapping out all these different trade shows that are happening. We're really excited to attend them.
We're trying to figure it all out. We're trying to get there.
And even just like talking to the store owners, like I think that's why we want to do the white glove onboarding, because it really integrates that relationship with them, that like we care about them to fly out to their store, to really be on the ground, learn their problems, and create those lifelong relationships.
Well, it's funny when you were talking about the fact of the Airbnb.
Yeah.
So somebody that we had on the show was Joseph Kopser. Okay, he was a keynote speaker in San Antonio, I believe, for the RTO world. I got to know him a little bit. Man, sharp, amazing guy.
Right.
Now, what happened was, inadvertently, I didn't know this. He didn't tell me this at first. He's somebody who tries to see the future coming. What's coming our way? Don't be on the tail end of the bell curve. Okay, we need to be on the forefront of it. And he saw that, just as I do. I think Rentone needs it. Right. So we're talking about it. And in the conversation, and you mentioned Airbnb, and it reminded me of something that we had talked about. And so Joseph, before Uber was Uber, had helped create the rideshare program that he sold that eventually became Uber. Wow. Kid you not. And I was like, that forward thinking is like, you never know how far it'll go, right? I mean, I think, and I'm going to have to go back and make sure that I double check this, but I think that the guy who had Ring, which wasn't called Ring at the time, he pitched a Shark Tank.
Yeah, he did.
And they said no. So he renames it, puts it out there. What is it? Like everybody has a doorbell with a camera.
Right.
Now, does it necessarily mean a ring? No. But when we're talking about, it's almost like Windex. Everybody calls glass cleaner Windex. Doesn't mean that it's Windex, but I mean, like everybody's like, you got a ring? Doesn't mean you have a ring, but it was the prominent number one thing that came out, and now everybody associates that name with, hey, do you have the outside light? Do you have the doorbell light? I know the Ring has this community, and it builds.
Right.
So looking at it now and going, man, there's an opportunity out there. I see an opportunity. I'm with you guys. I want to go back to what we said earlier.
Yeah.
Investing. Now, let's say I have $1 million in my back pocket, right? Now I don't know. Pete's the best rent-to-own ever. I don't know if he's got $1 million, but so if somebody said, because I mean, our listeners are going to ask.
Yeah.
If there's a way to buy into this because they feel like there's something that, not only are they helping the industry.
Right.
But you want to put some money in the pocket, right? Well, how do you do that? How does somebody go about reaching Atlog.AI and saying, hey, you know what? I think I want to be a part of the process, or I want you guys to come out and do the white glove, or I have questions. How do they reach you?
Yeah, easiest way is to just send us an email. All of our emails are just our first names at Atlog.AI. So mine is SHAUN, Sean at Atlog.AI. And we'll send you over the information if you want the white glove onboarding, if you want Atlog in your stores, if you want to invest in us, any sorts of questions, you can send them my way. If it's just like how to use ChatGPT for your store, or how to use a different AI model for your store, we can do that too. Whatever AI questions you might have, those are all things that we just want to be here as a resource for the industry, because we've come fresh out of this. We're in San Francisco. We've been in San Francisco for the last couple months, just like being in the heart of AI. And our hope is that we can grow with this industry as well.
So getting back to it, SHAUN at Atlog, ATLOG.AI.
Yep.
Now, if we want to reach out to Vraj, it's VRAJ at Atlog.AI.
Yep.
And if they want to check out the website, Atlog.AI.
Yep.
We make it easy.
Yeah, yep.
All right. So it's original name. You can find it, guys, anywhere. Now, is there a social media presence? Because I did see a video. I liked the video.
Yes.
I saw the video and I was like, you know what? These guys are really trying. I actually thoroughly enjoyed the video.
Good.
So I was like, I got some competition out there, but I really liked the video. I thought it was amazing, and I thought they're trying. Maybe they get it. If somebody wanted to visit the website, they go to Atlog.AI. What are they going to see on there?
Yeah, so right now we have our wait list. So we have our wait list and our key features on there at the moment. So if you want to book a demo with us, you can book a quick 15 to 30 minute demo. We'll hop on call with you, show you the platform, give you a call, let you listen to it. We'll talk about like what your specific needs are. That's kind of our biggest thing is like our website isn't just so that you come find information, so that you come find us, right? And it's like, who better to hear from than the source itself? So we'll hop on call with you same day. Like that's the type of service that we want to provide. And we're on all social media platforms. So you saw the video. We were kind of wanted to recreate like a furniture store type of vibe. So that was posted on